Slow in my darkness, I explore the hollow gloom with my hesitant stick. I that used to figure paradise in such a library's guise. Something that surely cannot be called mere chance must rule these things. Some other man has met this doom on other days of many books and dark. As I walk through the slow galleries, I grow to feel with a kind of holy dread that I am that other, I am the dead, and the steps I make are also his. Which of us two is writing now these lines about a plural I and a single gloom? What does it matter what word is my name, if the curse is indivisibly the same?
For 13 years, I read for my husband because he could not, because of his sight. 14 years for the same reason, reading and writing for Jorge what he dictated. These two tragedies, one can say, gave me a little happiness.
She was an admirable woman and kept her pride even during the time of incarceration under the dictatorship. She was very sweet and indulgent to me. After her death, I wrote a poem called Remorse, and I think I should have been, or tried harder to be, happier, as this would have made her happy. Now she is dead, and I feel guilty at never being happy enough. I should have been happier, not for me, but for her.
Left alone after his mother's death in 1975, Borges continued his quiet routine, eating out with a few friends, being read to from books he almost knew by heart, writing new books of poetry and prose, half inquisitive reader and half dreamlike writer. By now, the world had recognized Borges' genius. Beginning with the Formentor Prize, which he shared in 1961 with Samuel Beckett, universities and governments from as far as Japan showered awards on him and invited him to travel. He'd become the universal librarian.
I truly think that I'm still the same person that I was when I published my first book, Fervor de Buenos Aires, in 1923. Everything I was going to write in the future was included in that book, but it was written between the lines and only for myself. It's like a secret literature mixed with the public one. Everything is there, but only I can see it. So what I have done since then is just to rewrite that first book over and over again, extended or enriched. So what can I say? After that first book, I've written some good pages, some good poems, nothing more than that.
The other one, the one called Borges, is the one things happen to. I walk through the streets of Buenos Aires and stop for a moment, perhaps mechanically now, to look at the arch of an entrance hall and the grill work on the gate. I know of Borges from the mail and see his name on a list of professors or in a biographical dictionary. I like hourglasses, maps, 18th century typography, the taste of coffee and the prose of Stevenson. He shares these preferences with me, but in a vain way that turns them into the attributes of an actor. It would be an exaggeration to say that ours is a hostile relationship. I live, let myself go on living, so that Borges may contrive his literature, and this literature justifies me. Years ago, I tried to free myself from him, and went from the mythologies of the suburbs to the games with time and infinity. But those games belong to Borges now, and I shall have to imagine other things. Thus, my life is a flight, and I love everything, and everything belongs to oblivion, or to him. I do not know which one of us has written this page.
José Luis Borges, nous vous faisons commandeur de la Légion d'honneur.
I think the person talking to you now is the private Borges. The other one is the public Borges, and I dislike him. He is the one who gives interviews and appears on television. I've got nothing in common with that one. He is the official Borges.
No es así, un coche por defensa del tranguiano argentino, y en la mitad del camino se encuentra un carro encajado, compañero hágase un lado, dijo al del carro el cochero, y este contesta ligero, avisa si es comisario, o si lo ha nombrado alcalde, o se entera que soy otario. Ahora, se usaban generalmente palabras grandilocuentes.
Among his reading partners, one, Maria Kodama, an Argentine of Japanese descent, became his love and life companion. Together they explored books, went for walks, travelled. They were married in 1986.
Borges was a very special blind person. First of all, he never complained about being blind, and he would never say anything unless someone said, "Oh my God, Master, you're blind, how awful." And because he never talked about it, I never thought of him as a blind person. That's why we did so many things together, like going to the desert, flying in a balloon, sailing a ship in New Orleans, and many other things that people never understood but that made him very happy.
Borges had reached his 87th year. The world which he had discovered in books continued to interest him more than its poor reflection on earth. And even his beloved Buenos Aires became merely a sad mirror of his experience.
And now the city is like a map of all my humiliations and my failures. From this door, I've watched the sunlight set, and by this column I've waited, but in vain. Here the uncertain past and varied present have given me the common lot of every human fate. Here my slow steps have woven their unfathomable maze. And here the ashen afternoon awaits the fruit promised by the day to come. Here my shadow in the dim and final shadow shall be lost at last. Terror and not love holds us together. Perhaps that's why I too love her so much.
El último responso y acción de gracia en este cementerio que podíamos decir laico, donde hay tumbas en cruces.
Borges chose to die not in Buenos Aires, but in Geneva, where he'd once been happy.
De María Kodama.
Borges always loved that country, for many reasons, but mainly because there he learned how to be tolerant. Also, he was very impressed by the way Switzerland treated the refugees from the First World War. He was a teenager at the time, but those are the kinds of acts and attitudes that stay with a sensitive teenager for the rest of his life.